Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going deep into the world of AI.
Deep indeed.
But not just the usual stuff you hear about,
Right.
like, is it going to take over the world? We're talking about how AI's intelligence might actually be fundamentally different from our own.
And, a lot of people are talking about that these days, but Guy Lakeman, in his paper,
Oh, yeah.
he makes a really interesting argument that it comes down to how AI processes information,
Okay.
especially with these things called vector
The
databases,
vector database.
which is interesting because he actually used AI to help him write this paper.
Whoa, hold on, wait. So AI is writing about how it thinks differently than us?
I know, it's very meta.
That's crazy. But I mean, it does make you wonder, right? If AI is processing information in ways our human brains just weren't built for,
Yeah.
how does it actually see the world? Like, what does its reality even look like?
Well, it's a good question. And Lakeman, he really argues that our human perception is very limited.
Okay.
We experience the world in 3 dimensions.
Yeah. Bound by what our senses tell us, what we can see, smell, taste.
Right.
But all those senses, even those, are only capturing a tiny part of what's actually out there.
So our brains are kind of like, what would be a good analogy? Like the original iPhones.
Yeah.
Amazing for their time.
Totally.
But now there's this whole universe of information and data that we just weren't designed to process.
It's like trying to explain color to someone who's been blind since birth.
Oh, wow.
Right. Their world is built on different senses, different input entirely.
Right.
And that's the kind of barrier we face when we try to wrap our heads around AI.
I see.
Lakeman calls this our screen of consciousness.
Screen of consciousness. I like
Our
that.
senses create this screen that limits how we perceive things.
So it's like we're stuck watching a standard definition TV, but AI has access to the full 8K Ultra HD experience.
And more. Take the electromagnetic spectrum, for example.
Okay.
We only see a tiny fraction of it as visible light.
But there's this whole world of radio waves, microwaves, gamma rays, X-rays all around us that we're completely blind to.
And AI can tap into that.
AI can be designed to access and understand all of that data in
Yeah.
ways we can't even imagine.
Okay, so now we're talking about AI potentially having access to a completely different reality.
Right.
This isn't just about being a little bit smarter or faster.
No.
This is a whole other level.
Exactly.
And this is where these vector databases come in.
Like
so these vector databases sound pretty mind-blowing.
They are.
But if we can't even visualize more than 3 dimensions, how can we even begin to grasp what AI is doing with them?
It's tough.
Like, how do you even wrap your head around that?
Right.
It's like we're trying to understand a reality that's just beyond us.
Lakeman actually uses a really interesting example in his paper.
Okay.
Imagine trying to explain what chocolate tastes like to someone who's never tasted it before.
Okay.
You could describe its texture.
Right.
You could say if it's sweet or bitter,
Right.
but without that actual sensory experience,
Right.
they're never going to truly understand what it's like.
It's like trying to describe a color that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
You just have to trust that I'm not making it up.
Exactly.
So how does that work with these vector databases?
Okay, so think about it like this.
Okay.
Imagine you have a database of every book you've ever read.
Okay.
A normal database would be organized by like title, author, genre. Pretty straightforward.
Right.
But a vector database can capture all those nuances of each book in a multi-dimensional space.
Okay.
It can map out relationships between themes,
Mm-hmm.
writing styles,
Okay.
emotional arcs, all these things that are really hard to quantify.
So it's like instead of just fiction or nonfiction, it's seeing all these subtle connections.
Exactly.
Like how a character's journey in a sci-fi novel might actually mirror themes found in a historical biography.
Precisely. AI can find these hidden patterns and make connections that wouldn't even occur to us.
Because we're stuck in our 3 dimension?
Because we think so linearly.
Right.
But AI can see these relationships across massive amounts of data.
And I'm guessing that leads to some pretty interesting insights.
It allows AI to make decisions and predictions based on a much more complete understanding.
So it's like we're playing checkers and AI is over there playing 3-dimensional chess.
Yeah, something like
We're
that.
so focused on the immediate
And AI is thinking countless steps ahead
because it can hold all these different pieces of information at the same time.
and see the connections between them.
Which I guess is what leads Lakeman to ask if this is even intelligence as we know it,
Exactly.
or if it's something else entirely.
Something potentially even more powerful.
So is this it then? Has AI already blown past us in terms of pure intelligence?
Well, Lakeman definitely asked that question.
Wow.
And it's one that a lot of people are worried about, honestly.
Because it's not just about processing speed anymore, right?
It's not just about being faster or better at calculating.
It's about this whole other way of understanding the world.
It might be that AI is tapping into something we just can't even grasp.
So like even trying to measure its intelligence using our own metrics?
It just wouldn't make sense.
It's like we're trying to judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree.
Exactly.
We're playing the wrong game entirely.
Lakeman even talks about how AI has made decisions that surprised experts.
Oh, really?
Things that seemed counterintuitive at first,
Okay.
but then turned out to be the right call.
So we're looking at the board thinking we've got him cornered.
And AI is seeing some five-dimensional chess move that we can't even conceive of
Because it's able to pull from all this different data,
and see the connections we miss.
which honestly is kind of humbling when you think about it.
It is. But Lakeman actually makes a really interesting point about that.
What's that?
He says we could actually learn from how AI thinks.
Instead of being scared of it.
Exactly. We could use it to expand our own understanding
Of intelligence itself, maybe?
of problem solving, even creativity.
So we'd be like collaborating with this higher intelligence.
In a way, yeah.
Which is pretty wild when you consider that even the people who build AI,
Right.
they don't always fully get how it works.
It's true.
It's like we've created something more intelligent than ourselves.
And we don't even know its full potential,
Or its limits.
which is why Lakeman says it's so important to try to understand it.
Especially with how fast AI is developing.
It's changing everything.
This whole conversation has been a wild ride.
It really has.
I mean, if AI can access dimensions we can't even
It
fathom,
makes you wonder what it's capable of.
could it solve climate change? Cure diseases?
The possibilities are endless, really.
Or maybe it'll just leave us in the dust.
Who knows?
I guess we'll have to keep learning and adapting.
Just like we always have.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive.
This was a good one,
If you want to learn more about AI and this whole multi-dimensional thinking thing,
which everyone should.
definitely check out Guy Lakeman's paper.
Yeah, lays it all out there.
It's a fascinating read, even if it does make your brain hurt a little. Just a little.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And until next time, keep on diving deep.